started as a clean energy dream. Blusmart, the electric ride-hailing startup that promised to disrupt the future of mobility. But the wheels are now coming off. Blusmart is reportedly exiting its core business, shifting from building a platform to simply supplying cars for rival Uber. But the real shock lies beneath the surface. SEBI has dropped a bombshell. Anmol Singh Jaggi and his brother Puneet, who are the founders of Gensol and promoters of Blusmart, allegedly turned the electric dream into a personal piggy bank. EV loans worth nearly 1,000 crore rupees meant to electrify India's roads were instead rerouted through shell companies, layered transactions to purchase a 43 crore rupee luxury flat at the Camellias. 200 crore still remains unaccounted for. That isn't all. On your screens are exactly where all that money was spent. 26 lakh rupees for a golf set, 3 crores to a spouse, 6 crores to mother. What was meant to power electric cars is now powering their elite lifestyles. SEBI's interim order is damning, calling the brothers' actions a gross abuse of public funds. They are now being barred from holding directorships and are blocked from accessing the markets as well. But what does this really mean in terms of the impact on the startup ecosystem? Let me now get in Mr. JN Gupta, who is the former executive director of SEBI, as well as Ravi, former chairman of BSE, to understand the implications and what can be done in terms of these funds. Mr. Gupta, let me start with you, sir. The SEBI has come out with some very damning revelations in terms of what all went wrong when it comes to Blusmart. How do you see this entire scam and how the money has actually been siphoned off?
See, if you look at SEBI order and everything, the crux lies in the related party transaction. Right. Everything has happened because of related party transaction. And how all these related party transactions have been facilitated, it could not have been done unless until the entire ecosystem was supported. That means CFO would have known it, the person who is making the bank voucher would have known it. So everybody in the system would have known it that the money is being diverted. What SEBI has done, SEBI has punished the beneficiary only, those people who have benefited out of this transaction. But I would say, in order to stop anything like this, you got to get to those people also who have been facilitating this transaction. I agree that it is becoming it will become difficult that the person who is subordinate to the boss or promoter or something would have courage or spine to say, I will not do it. So I will not punish him, but at least call them for investigation, call them for interview and warn them, so that the message goes down the line that SEBI is looking into it, and if you are part of the operation, that you are facilitating something, you will be hauled up. So right. The issue that comes always is this, that related party transaction, are they good or bad? The simple answer is this: related party transaction per se are not bad. They become bad when your intent becomes abusive or you want to benefit out of it.
Okay.
Beyond the...
Yeah. Hold your thought there, sir. Mr. Ravi, I want to bring you in, sir. In terms of some of the siphoning of funds, how they've actually been made into shell companies and how the money then flew out of the, pretty much exited the company. How do you see the message it sends to investors? Because at the end of the day, startups attract global money, but such instances also, start the chain reaction of investors wanting to stay away from startups.
So good evening. First of all, I endorse what you said. Actually, such a activity or such a siphoning of or diversion of funds, actually the confidence of the investors get very easily lost. And we have seen it in the past also. Many big companies have gone down under because of the type of diversions or personal gains which people or promoters did. It caused a lot of concern to the investors. Here is one case where the investors will lose confidence. They will also relook at all the future options of various other companies in which they are supposed to invest. And also, it brings bad name to the Indian governance system, which is prevalent. And as Mr. Gupta very correctly stated, related party transaction becomes questionable, though most of them are genuine.
Mr. Ravi,
But,
what is
you know,
related
such-
party transaction? If you could explain that to our viewers in simple terms, because they may not know the finances that go behind it, but they all would be wondering what happens to the startup ecosystem.
So related party, just to give an example, somebody buys a house out of the money of the funds for which it was not given. For example, in this case, 900 crores was taken from IREDA and PFC for a particular utilization. But I take the money out and use it for personal, for example, building a house, residence, whatever, or a flat, and I just take it out. So it becomes a related party transaction, which is not adding value to the business, and it is not part of the business plan which is being projected to the institutions and the investor. So it is something that has been away from the business,
Okay.
but it is for a personal gain.
Okay,
But-
that's, I
but
think,
what
most
happens, related
important.
party-
Yeah, that's correct. At the end of the day, it is such particular instances that erode confidence and also bring bad name when it comes to entrepreneurship as well as the overall startup ecosystem. Mr. Gupta, then let me ask you in terms of checks and balances. At the end of the day, of course, there are elaborate governance norms, there are elaborate mechanisms, but if there are not enough checks and balances, such instances come to light, raising the issue of entrepreneurship getting a bad name.
See, there are no dearth of checks and balances. There are enough checks and balances, and we can put 10 more checks and balances. But the problem is the people who have to enforce the checks and balances do not do it. You can make a law, but you cannot enforce the law by holding the neck of the person. See, SEBI or policeman or anybody cannot be sitting in each and every boardroom holding the independent director by the neck, or auditors by the neck, or secretarial audit by the neck, or CFO by the neck. The responsibility is with these people to ensure the checks and balances are followed. Problem is that I failed to do my duty. Now, if I fail to my duty, why I fail? I either fail because of ignorance, or because of complicity, or because of fear. All three are bad. So most of the time it happens, either I am a complicit or I am fearful. It is rare that it is the ignorance, because all the directors who are there, they are all well educated. The
Yes.
chartered accountant is educated, so everybody is educated. It is either fear or complicity.
Fear or greed, those are universal sentiments, and at the end of the day, institutional mechanisms need to ensure that they are able to be arrested. On that note, I have to end this discussion. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me. Bottom line, viewers, is that a journey that began with the promise of clean transport ends with a scandal that's dirtier than diesel. For India's EV ecosystem, it's a sobering jolt. Byju's and Blusmart are isolated incidents, but there are lessons for the Indian startup ecosystem. Stronger governance mechanisms, more robust checks and balances are the only way the ecosystem will continue to attract not just investors, but also best talent and more research and development. If we want to move up the value chain from plain vanilla 10-minute delivery startups, then ensuring investor confidence remains intact is most crucial.